Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, actually, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. Tonight, we look back at AEW's two nights of Dynamite, Shane's Hulk Hogan colors, NXT, where a number one contender times two was determined. Also, Impact Wrestling, we go back to Monday Night Raw because Retribution must be discussed, and we also will look forward to Clash of Champions this Sunday on pay-per-view. It is a stacked show, folks. We are live here on Fight TV and across our social media channels. The Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Super Show starts right now. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime for Thursday, September 24, 2020, the year that just keeps on taking. I'm Damian Nelson coming to you here from the PWR studios, and I'm joined by the co-hosts that are actually, well, what's a better word for co-host? Rock stars? That certainly doesn't apply to you. But we are joined, folks, by the panel here from the Pro Wrestling Report. Ladies and gentlemen, first, the long-standing sidekick of myself, yours truly, Damian Nelson. Please welcome David Octavius of Tiberius, the alleged backyard knockout, straight edge, hardcore Hall of Famer hero. David, how the hell are you here tonight?
I'm great, but I'm all confused. Opinion. I'm discombobulated. What did you do to your set? What did you move around?
Well, what do you mean? I moved my camera a little bit.
It looks different. Is that the White House? I see through your window?
No, it's the Black House.
Oh, just checking.
And we are also joined, ladies and gentlemen, by the true star of the show, the man who has been many places and done many things, including leaped over tall buildings in a single, what do they call that? Single
bound.
Bound? What is a bound?
It's a jump.
A bound is a jump?
Yes. Ask Shane, he'll tell you. He does it all the time. He bounds
everything.
Ladies and gentlemen,
please welcome to the Primetime Super Show, one, Shane Hurricane Helms. Shane, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. You're feeling it tonight, ain't you, boy?
Hey, you know what? Of course I am. It's Thursday, September 24th. Yeah. We're live. We're live on Fight TV. That's FITE Fight. We've got all kinds of wrestling behind us, some kinds of wrestling ahead of us, and it is time to discuss all of it. We want to welcome all of you, though, to join us with your comments. We are streaming live across our social media channels, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter as well. So all you need to do to be a part of the show is to comment on any of those social channels. We want to welcome several of you watching us across those social channels already, including David Stronach, and John M. Price, and Critical Sting, who's watching over on YouTube, who wants us to talk about hashtag Heath for Impact, which we will talk about later on. Keep those comments coming. We'll pop several of them up on the screen. We'll discuss them as they come across live, and we will also be interacting with you throughout this episode. So, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Can I throw something out here?
Virtually.
Every week, I brought Impact to the show. I said we need to talk about Impact, and every week we do at the end. This week, I got the itinerary, Damian. I got your text about the agenda for the show. Impact produced the most entertaining segment of the week this week.
You're flipping the script.
I think we start with Impact. It won't take long, but let's get.
I know what segment that is too.
Oh, you gotta know. I mean, Critical Sting kind of served it up. That whole thing for Heath Slater, David Hasselhoff, Flavor Flav, Nancy Kerrigan, Chuck Norris.
Like, hey, I didn't get a chance to watch.
If that was shoot cameo videos, what a brilliant idea.
What
a great way to get these four names under the smallest budget imaginable. Because I think once you do those cameo videos, you allow these people to do whatever they would. I don't know if they had to sign a waiver or anything. I honestly, I don't know. But just, it was brilliant. I laughed. several times doing those things with not knowing who was coming next. I popped for every single celebrity that they had, and it entertained the shit out of me. That was the most entertaining segment of the week by far.
The beauty of it is that they didn't hide the fact that it said cameo in the video.
Yes.
So you know that Heath paid for that to get him. It was just super well done, and yeah, I loved it. It was, and even having his daughters cut their little promos in the end, even better.
Oh, so
even better. But I need to work on the verbiage with the kids, with the delivery. Listen, I ain't holding nothing back. You're gonna put your kids on. I need a strong deliverance. But no, that was well done. Rhino was in politician mode.
Yes.
And he's got experience. And you can see how well of a talker he is. But man, when Flavor Flav came up, I literally started losing. I thought Hasselhoff was going to be it.
Like, I got a question. I got two questions actually. Was Flavor Flav wearing the clock?
No, I
don't remember. Yeah.
And did David Hasselhoff have any food in his video?
No, he was on his couch lounging.
No. Yeah, lounging.
He was talking to Kit though.
He did try to talk to Kit. Huge pop for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure how many the younger generation had a clue who all those people were. Hey, Nancy Kerrigan was a stretch.
Yes.
But I was, I was in that wheelhouse. That was just in my wheelhouse. It was so entertaining, and I was like, we gotta emphasize the Impact this week just for that alone.
So hashtag Heath for Impact.
Did you? So Damien, you didn't watch it. Due diligence. You're not putting in the work here.
No, unfortunately, I did not.
You want us to watch Retribution?
No, I don't, because I watched it on Monday and that was freaking brutal. Absolutely not. I wouldn't subject that pain to any Trump supporter. So no, we can start with Impact Wrestling. Look, in addition to Heath for Impact, we also saw big returns. We saw Tennille Dashwood return to the program as well this past Tuesday.
Yeah, there's some really good. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh no, and I thought, Tennille Dashwood was fantastic. I thought she had a great match with Jordynne Grace. I thought it was a great way to establish her as a star, because Jordynne Grace, the former TNA Impact World Heavyweight Women's Champion,
I believe that's Jordy-Ann.
Jordy-Ann, that's who I meant. Jordy-Ann, it was great. It was a great way to get her over as now this women's division is getting that much stronger. So I was a big fan of that.
So the episode featured several things, including the return of Tennille Dashwood. We also saw hashtag Heat for Impact. Let's talk about though the I almost lost my place there. Oh, the team of what are their names?
Sounds like
they have a variety show now coming to Access TV. Gallows and Anderson. I can't remember their new names now.
The Good Brothers.
The Good Brothers, yes. We also saw the progression of the storyline with Eric Young, and that big matchup coming up on October 24th at Bound for Glory.
Shane, let's talk about Eric Young for a second. I'm rather confused. I thought he is now in a match with Eric Swan, who wasn't on TV this week.
Swan.
Eric Swan was a legendary NFL player, so we get a pass on that.
Yes, that one, yes. But now all of a sudden, Eddie Edwards is back, and you got to believe he's now going to be involved in the title picture.
Yeah, it's just kind of mixing it up. So, I mean, honestly, Rich Swann getting a heavyweight championship match just because he got attacked is a little weak from a storyline standpoint. So throw Eddie into the mix, maybe get one of these multiple man matches, which, the whole business is fond of at this time. So I'm just guessing that's why they did that. If you want to talk about, too, the Good Brothers, how huge was Luke Gallows in that backstage promo? You got the machine guns on one side, then the Rascals came in, and Gallows just looks like a monster. It looked like he could beat everybody's ass in that that was on the camera frame. But
he almost looked like Kane, didn't he?
Looked like Kane, but man, they got such a Hall and Nash vibe right now, and he's definitely big sexy Luke Gallows in the house. But that was really some really good promos on that show too. But what Eric Young is doing with his, he's Eric Young turned up. He's the Maniac turned up to another notch, you know. And I mean, that was kind of one of the questions: how different can he be this time? And he's found a way to be even different. So he's really standing out to me.
Now, Shane, you understand the inner workings of Titan Towers. Do you think anybody's watching Impact in that office and saying, "Damn, we really dropped the ball on that guy"?
If they did, they're not going to say anything, you know.
Right, but you know, you got to believe somebody there is saying, "Hey, look what we missed out on."
I think so, but you know, I mean, there was people there that was telling him. I mean, you saw what Eric Young was capable of in NXT. You saw it in Insanity. You saw what he was capable of, and you saw a little bit of it when they would let him do anything. But you know,
Insanity should have been Retribution.
What?
No, Retribution is Insanity right now. The fact that it's happening.
I'm just saying, if you were going to bring that kind of group in, I would have let Eric Young have been the leader of that.
Yeah, something like that. So that's enough Retribution talk for the whole show.
Wait a minute, that's still.
I love a lot of the people that are in Retribution. So that's just, but I'm not a fan of the angle right now. But yeah, back to Impact, the triple threat that started out with TJ, Trey Miguel, and Bay, your boy Bay. Man, that was great. That was on par for match of the week with across the board. You know, it was up there.
Week. Wow.
Yeah, it's in the conversation. Yeah, it's in the conversation. It was really good. Good finish. You know, that X Division, and then the champ coming in. I didn't know that was going to happen right after that.
Yeah, I didn't
match.
either. Yeah.
So that was neat. Finishes him off rather quickly, which there is part of me like, all right, so you gave us all of that, then you took it right away. But there's heat behind it too, so you know, I'm give and take with that. But man, there was so much good stuff. The power driver from Sami Callihan on Katie Forbes, you know, shades of Tommy Dreamer and Francine, right? That's what I first thought of.
How was there any room though? Like, I mean, that's
you know what it was.
A lot of cushion for pushing.
I think Sammy called that finish the hit it and quit it, because that's exactly what it looked like. You know, he did. Yeah. He tossed her off like he was, you know, get out. You know what I mean?
I tell you, I like to see somebody. I like to see somebody give Katie Forbes an atomic drop and it like just no sell it. Like she's impervious to the atomic drop.
Wait, why would she be, Shane?
I think
that ass though.
That ass though. DAT.
See,
I will say it's interesting to see two guys have such devastating pile drivers. You know, when you have Eric Young and then you have Sami Callihan, and they're both using that as their big finishes. How often do you see that on the same show?
Yeah,
unless it's AEW.
Yeah, this is, you know, I'm weird about that. You know, when the top guy has a finish, whoever was doing it before, hey, you need to take a break a little bit here. But Sammy's been doing it, and Sammy was carrying the banner for years when, you know, Eric wasn't there. So I also see the argument of him not giving it up just because Eric came back. So maybe this could lead to something down the way. Hey, who's got the best power driver? You know, a Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler situation to take it back.
Right. Yeah.
So if we go back to hashtag Heath for Impact, Shane, I'm a little surprised that you skipped over Chuck Norris being a part of that. Marshall.
Yeah, I mean that was just fun. Yeah, it was just.
Well, to be fair, it's a beardless Chuck Norris. So I'm like, who's the old guy? You know?
Yeah, I like that he was. How big? How much of a pander was it that he slid Scott D'Amore's name in there for Chuck Norris to say, or whoever did it. So
Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, it was just really well done. That whole thing was just great.
So what do you prefer, the Heath for Impact series or vignette that we saw this past Tuesday night on Impact, or Wrestle House?
I mean, overall, Wrestle House provided more laughs. Just this thing right here just caught me off guard, and it was legit laughs. Like, you know, I mean, when you watch wrestling week after week, as much as we take in, you know, you and I do.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly, Dave. Thanks for backing me up on
that.
My
intern's giving me notes.
You just start to anticipate all the pops sometimes, and I think fans do this too. You know, when you get smart to any product, you start to anticipate some things. You know, Kramer coming sliding in the door in Seinfeld. You know, you start to anticipate that a little bit. You know, it's only when it catches you off guard that you get the bigger
great.
pop. Yeah,
you know, but what was cool about the whole Heath for Impact is that for a while we didn't think Heath was going to really be getting anywhere because it seemed like it was starting to get stale and just barely treading water. And then this happens, and it's like, oh, they're invested. They're actually going to put some time, effort, and money behind this. And just Heath and Rhino together is comedic gold as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
So, any other thoughts on Impact, gentlemen?
I just think they're doing really good, man. The women division is well structured. The X division is structured. The tag team is structured. They have, you know, goals for their heavyweight champions. You know, it just seems like an organized, well thought out show. You know, it's just every segment has a purpose. Every segment advances something, and they've just been really hitting it, man. You know, I wish they had crowds. That's their weakness right now, you know, especially with the Thunderdome, the audience from the Thunderdome. AEW's got some people there making noise. That's the one thing that's hurting them, you know, that crowd participation. You know, nothing they can do about it right now. But, man, if they had crowds right now, it'd be good.
And it's also a small detail. The referees in Impact Wrestling do a great job of holding order. It's like they don't let the matches get away from them. If they're not supposed to see something, they don't see something. And I just think that's a huge difference. And we'll talk about this with AEW. It seems like the matches for Impact, and yes, they're all taped, and Impact is taped every once in a while, or AEW is taped every other week. It just seems like it's a better flow. It just feels like they're not rushing stuff. Everything is thought out, and everyone's being used to the best way possible.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that was Impact Wrestling for this week. Shane, I'd like to ask you, which show can we talk about next since you're flipping the script?
Normally we talk about who won the ratings, right? And I guess it was AEW. Isn't that what you normally do?
Yeah, we decided several weeks ago that the show that got the highest ratings on Wednesday night would be the first one we talk about. Now, AEW had an additional showing on Tuesday night this week as well, which drew substantial ratings as well.
They had one on Tuesday? What the hell? What did I miss?
So I had a conversation with Dave earlier. He also was aware that there was a late night Dynamite on Tuesday night, a 1 hour special.
No, I don't know anything about it.
It was kind of like watching Dark, is what it was.
Oh, okay. Who was on it?
Yeah. It was Sean Spears against Matt Sydal, which I thought was
that was the main event.
Good. It was Brandy and Ayla J, the blonde girl from Dark Order. And then it was a pretty competitive match with a guy I'd never heard of before and somebody else.
It was Scorpio Sky and
Ben Carter.
Yeah, Ben Carter.
Yes.
Yeah. He's going to be a stud. You know, so Ben Carter is going to be money coming forward. So yeah, I guess I saw some clips of that, but I thought it was for Dark or something else. I didn't know.
Well, it was confusing because remember last week they said watch us on either Tuesday or Wednesday night, depending on the NBA Finals, playoffs, whatever it is. And then on socials, they made a point to say there would be a special late night Dynamite on Tuesday and then a regular Dynamite on Wednesday. I think it was a good effort on both shows for AEW. When I tuned into the late night Dynamite on Tuesday, it was a little bit late, and I said, "Oh, how long is this? Because I can't commit 2 hours, even though I love it." But luckily, it was only an hour, and I'm like, perfect, absolutely perfect, digestible.
Yeah. So whichever one you guys want to talk about is fine with me as far as AEW and NXT.
We can skip over the Dark version on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
You know,
Dynamite.
Yeah, that one. But you know, let's talk about. Well, first of all, what was the ratings? I have no idea.
I'm the host. Can I get this show back on track? I appreciate you guys.
I'll turn it back over.
Thank you very much, Shane. So the obvious big point, the main point from AEW's actual Dynamite this past Wednesday night, just last night on TNT, was the return of Cody Rhodes. Cody back, seemingly wants his TNT championship back, coming out after Brody Lee, and an amazing promo by Brody Lee, by the way. Cody with a new look and a new attitude as he tries to get back his AEW championship. A bit of a surprise return from Cody on Dynamite last night.
I love the fact that Peter Parker got bit by the symbiote. That's what it reminded me of. You know, it's like it's evil Peter Parker showed up. Shane gets it, right? Wouldn't you agree? That's kind of what it was like.
Yeah.
He's a badass Cody.
Yeah.
Shows up, you know, dark hair, black suit, ready to kick some ass.
So do you feel he should have debuted on AEW Dark and not Dynamite?
Late night Dynamite, Dark, or Dynamite?
Oh, come on, it's Cody. He's got to be on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, I thought it was good. You know, Cody's a big star. You know, he's a part of AEW. He's one of the faces of AEW. So having him back, he looked great. You know, yeah, the new look. And I mean, he's one of those guys, he can dye his hair and it's okay. He's like a Jeff Hardy. You know, Jeff Hardy can show up with purple hair and like, okay, no big deal. You know, it's like Cody's like anybody else just goes that drastic. You want to know what the hell's happening here. But you know, I mean, he looks like $1 million, presents himself and carries himself as a star. So when he came back out, I thought that segment was a waste of Orange Cassidy. I thought they really wasted him there.
Really?
Absolutely.
That was a great long performance, long match by he and
that was a terrible match.
Was it?
There was a lot I hated about that match. As a producer, from a psychology standpoint, the psychology was all over the place.
See, Damien, if you get past the appearance and you really look at the structure of the match, it wasn't very good.
I was happy with the fact that we saw new offensive and defensive from Orange Cassidy.
The problem is when the heel has to wait for the babyface to get ready to do his offense, it makes the heel look stupid. And that happened a lot last night in that match. For a guy that was a headlining main event match against Chris Jericho, that was a terrible match that he had. He made the TNT the TNT champion look weak at times because it made no sense what they were doing.
I thought they made each other look weak. Neither guy looked good coming out of this.
No.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things I could go into about this, but let's throw this out there too. There was some personnel problems that AEW had, if rumors were true. So, and I don't know that they are, but if this show was kind of thrown together, like they lost some talents.
Let's touch on that, Shane. Let's touch on that.
They may have lost some talents because of COVID, stuff like that. So guys they were going to use, they couldn't. Maybe this was what they intended to happen anyway. I don't know, but the show did kind of seem it didn't have the flow. Like if you look at the show last week when I raved about Dynamite and I said how it blew NXT out of the water. Complete 180 this week. Complete 180. There was so much from a mechanic standpoint. And I'm trying to give the guys, the benefit of the doubt because nobody's working like they should be. Nobody's working 4 or 5 days a week to perfect their craft. You don't have the weekend shows where you can go try things out in front of an audience and now let's go take it to TV. That's invaluable. Nobody has that right now. A lot of these guys are going out there and this is the first time they've ever wrestled this person. That's really difficult. You have to be a top talent to be able to handle that. And so you're seeing little botches. You're seeing lack of chemistry. You're seeing lack of timing. So I'm giving the guys the benefit of the doubt because of the era that we're in. But at the same time, there's some shit that just needs to be addressed. And it needs to come from, if Tony can't see it, it needs to come from the agents. Somebody needs to tell these guys, hey, this shit looks weak. This shit looks dumb. If you look at the Brody Lee match, he would throw Cassidy to the floor so the Dark Order could do their little pitter-patter bullshit. Mm-hmm. He's already winning at that point. If you cheat when you're already winning, there's no heat. Zero.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely right.
Just doing it because you can't think of anything else to do. And then the little involvement with the Dark Order at the end, or whoever the guy was, but Brody Lee still just beat him clean. So you waste that involvement and you still get over super clean. There's no heat. Like if all you got out of this was that Orange Cassidy did a couple extra moves, who gives a shit?
I'm watching that match and I'm thinking this was bad business all the way around because nobody looked like a star. Orange Cassidy looked like he was completely disconnected. Brody Lee looked extremely frustrated. And it just looked like they forgot all their spots. And they were trying to go through slow motion to try to get caught up. It's like, well, somebody please just beat somebody's ass for once. And we talked about this last week, and this happened a couple times again last night on Dynamite, where guys are not just beating people. It's way too competitive. And when you have a Brody Lee, a guy that destroyed Cody Rhodes, okay, and he winds up having a competitive match with Orange Cassidy, for me as a fan, that's a huge disconnect.
I didn't mind it being competitive because Cassidy was coming off the Jericho thing.
Exactly.
You know, so you can't waste that. I felt like this was wasted. Like if they would have done some kind of heated thing, like if Brody Lee, we know he's impressive. We know he's a big guy. You know what? He can walk to the ring, and I understand that. Mm-hmm. He can literally fucking stand there, and I understand he's a big guy. I don't feel like Cassidy reacted to him like a big guy. He reacted to him like he was just any other guy he's ever worked. There was no like, okay, I'm in here with a big guy now. It's different. You work a bigger guy a lot different than you work somebody your size, and you're going to work somebody your size different than you work somebody smaller than you. When guys try to tell the exact same story, no matter who they're in there with, that's when it just kind of gets redundant and boring. You know, I wasn't excited with this match. I just don't feel like Orange Cassidy was the guy here. I feel you could have used anybody else in there. And Orange Cassidy, I wanted him to keep that steam. Like what Jericho did to help build him, and now his first shot at a championship just loses clean.
Yes. If you're Chris Jericho and you do everything you can to make this guy a household name and get him over as much as he did, how are you feeling last night after watching that match if you're Chris Jericho?
I mean, I was in that situation.
Okay, so how'd you feel?
I was in that situation where I was the Orange Cassidy guy. And somebody huge put me over, and then the next thing you know, I'm out there getting face planted. It's odd, and everybody saw through it. For me, everybody saw through it what was happening. But this, as I said earlier, this might have been a personnel situation. Maybe they just didn't have anybody, and they wanted, and out of desperation,
they advertised that match last week, so they knew they had this match.
Okay, yeah. If that's the case, then that's fine. It is what it is. I don't understand why we're going to that. I don't understand why we're pulling any steam off of Orange Cassidy right now. We don't need to pull any steam off of Brody because we got to build him back up for Cody. So it was somebody had to win. I see going with Brody, but I just wish they could have done it a little differently. Something that just wasn't decisive, clean, and just you got all of those guys out there. You got 20 guys around the ring, and you can't figure out how to heal a win.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have used Austin Gunn in that spot if you wanted to do that. You know,
I appreciate this dialogue, but I am baffled right now.
I
appreciate the education, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed the match.
There was some good action. Yeah, I get that. You know, if I go see somebody doing a bunch of flips and shit, yeah, that's cool.
Elbow drops.
But were they any different after the match than when they started?
Brody Lee was after their
and
promo.
Shane, but Damian, here's the thing: if watching that match, are you going to go tell 5 of your buddies to go spend $25 and go with you next time they're in town because of that match?
And then Brody Lee goes back for this interview and just throws the title around like he's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
that's the thing we're trying to convince our audience that we're beating each other up. Hey, let me go throw this piece of shit. Yeah, you like this? Look at it. Well, I don't understand why anybody in charge go, hey, these are the championships. You don't go take the Stanley Cup and throw it against the fucking wall. You don't go take the Lombardi trophy or whatever and just do it like that. These guys are such knuckleheads when it comes to these titles. Hey, I need to look cool. You know, if I show the title don't matter to me, that makes me look cooler because I saw The Undertaker drag it. Well, The Undertaker was attacking the whole company at the time. That's why he did it. Treat the championships with reverence. It's such a subtle thing that means so much. Like when I see guys do that, I'm like, okay, well, nobody gives a shit about this championship. Why do I care? Mm-hmm. If you don't care, the fans never will.
So literally, my next note here in my pre-show notes was Orange Cassidy shines against Brody Lee.
Well, you must have been watching something else.
No, he has some moments. You know, he definitely has some cool moments. The comeback. And there was some cool ways, like the mechanics of this weren't awful in terms of moves, but just the psychology, cheating when you're winning, like nobody gives a shit when you cheat when you're losing. You know, not cheap because you saw some heel do it in a match before. And that's exactly that's when you'll play wrestling. Oh, I saw, I saw some other people feed somebody out. You know, Orange Cassidy can fight back. He's fighting. And now Brody Lee shoots him to the outside. Now Brody Lee distracts the ref. Now they getting on the guy's ass. That's heat. When he's just winning and throwing him out, hey, ref, come with me. Let me make you look like an idiot. Because if you're any kind of referee ever, you got to see that's an obvious distraction.
So I want to go back, actually.
Look at me. Look at me getting hot over here.
Really?
So you're hot.
Simmer down, pal. I'm going to give you just an example. I don't remember if it was WrestleMania 4 or 5, and it was an Ultimate Warrior or Ravishing Rick Rude match. And I remember when Heenan kept the leg down and Warrior got pinned and Rude won the title. But there was one match where Bobby Heenan interfered when his guy was already ahead. And Jesse Ventura was on commentary, and he said flat out, this doesn't make any sense. Why is Bobby interfering? I don't understand. His guy was in the lead. Why is he interfering? And I remember that so vividly because the curtain was being peeled back a little bit, and Jesse was sort of, I guess in this day and age, you use the term shoot, as the lack of psychology, as you've been talking about, Shane, in this segment, in that matchup. Mm-hmm. I really think it was Warrior, because Heenan started trying to hit him with the belt, and he kept moving in the ring.
Was it Warrior and Rude? Was that what?
Yeah. At 5, it was Warrior Rude.
Yeah, but Rude won the match, I thought, in 5.
Yeah.
So he tried to interfere, but it didn't work?
He tried to interfere when his guy was ahead, had the lead, and Jesse Ventura called it out as illogical. There was no sense for Heenan to interfere. I don't remember the result of the match. I'll have to go back. I should do my research before bringing these things up. But
because if he goes in and tries something that doesn't work, that could be setting up for something else. Yeah, and maybe I can see what they're doing there. But Jesse's right, and I mean I agree. I've worked with guys on that religiously in my career. Like, why are you cheating now? It's when guys would have me during the heat and then they would just start choking me. I'm like, man, quit fucking choking me. You're already winning this match. Choke me when I'm fighting back. Get the fuck off me.
It's clear we need to move on to the next topic. Shane,
oh yeah, please
simmer down.
Let's talk about Miro while we're at it.
Well, Miro did have his in-ring debut in a tag team matchup this past Wednesday night on Dynamite. And before we get to that, Miro, great point. Before we get to that, Hero, great point about Miro. Shane, to your point of changes that may have needed to be made on Wednesday at Dynamite, the Tuesday show, Late Night Dynamite, was pre-taped, and the Wednesday show was live. And it has been announced publicly by Lance Archer and Ben. God, I'm so sorry. I don't remember his last name.
Carter.
Yeah, they both announced that they've tested positive for COVID-19. AEW has announced a change to their protocol in testing. So it is fair, Shane, as you say, that there may have been some adjustments that need to be made at the last minute that they were not planning for. Yeah. Be that as it may, we did see Miro's in-ring debut. And I got to say this, Rusev was an impressive stud in WWE. But damn, he looked like a monster last night on Dynamite.
Yeah, as he walked to the ring.
Massive.
As he walked to the ring, he looked awesome. Again, I don't understand. When did Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela become the Road Warriors? I am baffled by this. They have competitive matches with Jake Hager and Chris Jericho, and now Rusev, a guy that has destroyed top guys in WWE, struggled as a tag team partner to beat those two guys. That was not a positive showing. That was no way of getting him over as being somebody that's a stud and a star.
I think I was just confused on who I'm supposed to cheer for in this match. That was confusing. I mean, who's the babyface? Who's the heel? I mean, you got this one couple. They're in love. They're getting married. I guess we're supposed to like that or we're supposed to hate it. I don't fucking know. Miro's coming in. He was such a huge baby face in WWE. He's coming in. It's his first match. I'm excited about that, but they're kind of teaming him with a guy that's supposed to be a heel. So am I supposed to like that? I don't know. Then you got Janela and Sonny Kiss. I mean, they seemingly are the baby faces, but the promo before that, well, I've had your girl and stuff like that. That was like a prickish thing to say, especially because it's true. They did. He was engaged to Penelope Ford. So it's just like, man, I didn't know who I was supposed to like in this match. The chemistry was off, timing was off. I'm a huge fan personally of all of these people and professionally. They're all my friends, and I wanted this to be great. I just think they were put in a weird situation. I think this was a tough one to overcome. And, like I said, when you're working with somebody for the first time, it's not always going to be smooth. And this was just, this wasn't smooth. This wasn't smooth at all. There was a lot of little glitches. And, this company is trying to compete for the title, best company in wrestling. That's what they're going for. It's not going to happen with performances like that.
Shane, you said earlier, and just to defend what you're saying to a degree, you said earlier that when you're coming in cold and only working the TVs once a week, there's no house shows, there's no nothing else. You don't have those opportunities. So you gotta, I think, you got to give AEW a bit of a pass on that. They're a new company. They haven't been touring for a house show, loops, if you will. And that is an inherent problem of their company. So they have no choice but to go cold.
Yeah, it's tough. That's what I say that's why I said that much. You just repeated what I said, motherfucker.
I know. That's what I do.
You see what he did, Dave? He repeated what I said like it's his shit.
Don't steal
my shit on the same show.
I gave you credit. I said it.
Hold on.
You don't gotta tell me what I said, motherfucker. I said it.
But here's the other thing.
If I didn't say it, I would even let you know Shane Helms did not say that.
So Shane Helms did say that.
I understand that some of these matches are cold, but when those guys are there all day and they're going over their matches for at least 3.5 hours before they go out there and the ring is empty, why aren't they trying out some of this stuff to see if it clicks? It just, I don't understand.
Listen, I'll tell you what. This is something I said years ago. The red light tells the truth.
Huh.
Not only in strip clubs. when that red light's on and it's live, that's when you see the difference between good and great. The red light will always tell the truth.
If you
can practice a match and it can be perfect. I've seen it done. I've seen guys.
You're right.
There's certain guys that would go out there and do these spots. Who's the guy in WCW? He would walk across the rope. I think he's in jail now for some crazy shit. But he would walk across the ropes, nail it in practice every time. You turn that red light on, he's busting his ass every time.
If you're Miro, how do you feel about last night's match?
I have to imagine that he knows it wasn't the best in-ring debut of all time, but his performance wasn't bad. He didn't look terrible. Nobody looked terrible. It just wasn't great. Nobody looked terrible. The match it was passable, but it wasn't good. And nobody looked awful. Nobody looked like they didn't belong on television. It just, we're expecting more. And I know what these people are capable of. I've been in the ring with Kip Sapien. I know how good that kid is. I know how good Miro is, and I know how good Janela is. I can't remember if I've been in the ring with him. I did a seminar with Janela back in the year. Back in the day. I know how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
I know how good Sonny Kiss is. But just this match didn't click.
I think Miro should have had a singles match for his debut.
Should have singles match and murdered somebody.
Yep.
But again, fans' perspective. I appreciate how deeply you guys think into this. He is the best man. He is part of the Kip Sabian situation, if you will. So to me, as a fan watching, it made sense.
No, it didn't. Not at all.
You're telling me how I felt, how I thought, how I saw it?
No, I'm just telling you that you're wrong. It didn't make sense.
Okay.
It just didn't. It was just a terrible. It's like they didn't put Dean Ambrose or John Moxley in a tag match for his debut, right?
Or maybe they did.
But you have a guy that is the fans want to get behind and cheer, and they love his character. They love everything about him. He looks like $1 million on that show. Why doesn't he go out there? They have all those guys around the ring. He's the best man by destroying a guy. Yeah, he's the best because the other guy got no offense in. He had to sell for Janela and Sonny Kiss off the bat. He shouldn't be selling for anybody right now.
I hear the hatred in your voice.
That's not hate. That's me. I look at things on selling tickets. Okay, that I'm telling you right now. If you're trying to make him a monster and a legit badass, they failed at that last night, in my opinion.
No.
Yes,
See, not at all for me.
Let me ask you this, Damien. Say you go watch Godzilla movie. Say the first, either one. I don't give a shit. But say the first time you saw Godzilla, he's out there getting fucked up. You know why they don't do that? Because that's stupid. If you're going to introduce a monster, he has to smash. He had to come in and fuck people up. And then when he finally gets taken down, then it means something. See, I know I talked about this last week, and now that the thoughts really forming in my head, we are overcompensating in this business. This business used to be a big man's business. And now the little guys fought for it. And I was a little guy that fought for my position, everything too. But now we're overcompensating for the little guy. So all the little Davids are just beating the shit out of every Goliath that comes along. That's not realistic. Goliath wins 9 out of 10 times. That's real shit. That's why there are weight classes in wrestling, weight classes in boxing, weight classes in MMA. Because if there's no weight classes, Goliath is fucking people up all the time. And David has to go hit that bitch with a rock.
Look at the Road Warriors. Imagine if they would have had to sell for a team like Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, or the Conquistadors, or the Mulkeys, or the Ding Dongs.
But here's where I will challenge both of you on that. Every other wrestler right now is a Joey Janela or a Sonny Kiss. They are average human beings. That's how we're overcompensating. And now and we've lost the Goliaths in the audience too. We've lost that portion of an audience because any bigger, tougher guy watching this and they just see other tough guys getting beat up by guys that obviously couldn't beat any damn body up. That's why we're losing that portion of the audience. Can we speak positively for a minute? So
I'm positive that I'm right and you're wrong.
So Gorilla Monsoon taught me a lot about anatomy, specifically the trapezius muscle.
Oh.
I don't know that I've ever seen a trapezius muscle than I have on Rusev last night.
Oh, yeah. He looks great. And I'm glad he kept his finish, too.
Yeah.
I heard some people say, why did you get a new finish? Why? Shit was over. He beat a lot of big names with that finish. Keep that shit. And he looks good. He did not look bad. But I just wanted to see him murder somebody. I agree with Dave in that, but let's not harp on it. Bug it.
So let me ask you guys this, and I appreciate your critical views of the two matches that I started with. But
they're honest views, not critical.
They're critical. So how do you fix it? What do we do next week on Dynamite with Rusev to fix it? Because it's clearly not a lost cause. How do we recover if both of you feel that this was the wrong way to debut Miro in AEW? We'll start with you, Dave.
Let him have a handicap match against Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela and beat them both. You're not doing anything with those two guys. They're not winning matches anyhow. They can afford to get squashed and come back a week or 2 weeks later. It's not going to hurt any of their steam because they're not winning to begin with. But for him to beat two guys, he just needs to go out there and just, crush some people.
Shane?
Yeah. He just needs a stronger showing, a more dominant showing. That wasn't ideal, but it wasn't awful. I still stand by that. But strong win. We got to get him back on the right track. And I don't know what the shit this best man is. So whenever they do the wedding, like I said, I'm hoping that he just destroys everybody in the wedding, and then we can see the monster unleashed.
All right, fair enough. Well, we are running out of time for our discussion on AEW, NXT, and Impact Wrestling. We thank all of you for joining us here live on Fight TV and across our social media channels. Several people discussing our discussion right now in the chat room, and that's a virtual chat room across all of our social media platforms. But, gentlemen, one more thing on Dynamite I want to talk about, and that was the main event matchup. And let's make a point, too, that every match on Dynamite got a substantial amount of time this past Wednesday night, which I thought was good. But then again, now talking to you two, apparently I was watching a different show. But the main event was Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston for the AEW Championship. A long match as well, one where Kingston ended up tapping out to Jon Moxley. Now, everything you guys have said so far leading up to this, I actually think about this main event matchup Please tell me how I'm wrong this time.
And nobody's saying that you're wrong, right or wrong, but we're going to see things differently. You didn't have a 30-year wrestling career that I did, so I'm gonna see it a little bit differently than you do.
I had a 2-year wrestling career.
No, you didn't. And so, but before we get to that, the promo of the week: Jericho and MJF backstage.
You called me a loser.
Absolutely, that was so good. I watched it. I rounded and watched it again. Jericho's face, his facials when MJF was trying to explain to him that he was talking about the limo driver, and like even when it's like, where did you see it? And MJF's like, I saw it on Reddit, I saw it on YouTube. Where did you see it? And Jericho goes, I saw it on Dynamite, I saw it on the show. Like that was, I popped for that. But then when it got to the limo driver, that was just so well done. Those two guys have it down pat. They know who they are, which is the most important thing for your character, to know exactly who you are. And that was incredible.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did that air right after the segment in the arena with the Inner Circle and Private Party and Matt Hardy, or was it later?
That was after.
So should it have been right after? Because I found that to be weird.
No, yeah. Do you know why? Because the Private Party promo was terrible, and that one made up for it.
There we go.
Yeah. The private, I wouldn't call it terrible. It wasn't great. Those guys can talk. It was just
that was so awkward.
The whole segment it didn't quite click. It just didn't click.
Shane, if you have 5 heels and a baseball bat, why don't they just walk down the ring and beat all 3 of those guys up?
God, what about speaking of that, when you had the Hangman Page match, the Dark Circle is at the top of the ramp. All 5 of those bitches just get out of the way to let Hangman walk by.
People are gonna think we hate AEW, and we don't. We just
this week
it doesn't.
Dude, I raved like a maniac about them last week. We know that. Y'all can go watch last week. We going week by week. Why not just give Hangman Page the first entrance? Let him come to the ring. That whole shit where they all just got out of the way. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I in your way, sir? Oh, let me get out of my way. Let the Dark Order, this vicious cult, whatever the hell they are, let's get out of the way, sir, so you can go get your entrance. And then Evil Uno sends them to the back. None of that shit makes sense.
Nope. Because now they don't want to cheat.
I will say.
Hold on, wait, I'm not done yet.
But I want to give
Private Party.
No, I want to go back to Jericho and MJF because I want to give credit to MJF where it's due and that tremendous Breitling watch he was wearing.
Oh, okay. Now can we go back to Private Party?
Yeah. You all yell at me for details every week. You spent the first hour talking about all the little things I didn't know in those matches. Now you're going to yell at me for talking about details.
Dude, everybody's got an iPhone. Nobody gives a shit about watches no more. Watches are a dying industry. In case you haven't been paying attention.
That promo to me, who was it from the Private Party? I don't know which one it was.
Isaiah.
Isaiah.
Well, they both talked.
The other one?
Well, there's 2 of them.
One spoke first, the other spoke second.
Yeah, the one that spoke second.
Next week, Isaiah.
But, oh my God, he seemed like he was nervous. And if I'm Chris Jericho, I'm thinking, wait a minute. I go from Adam Page to John Ambrose to now Orange Cassidy to now I'm doing a singles match with the Private Party. Cassidy. Isaiah. It's like
with a K.
I mean, come on, seriously? Come on.
But
that
Isaiah,
is a waste of Chris Jericho.
But Isaiah said in that promo, maybe this explained it away a little bit, Dave. He said, I'm 23. I'm a 23-year-old kid from Brooklyn, and I want a shot at Chris Jericho. So did that not explain it away a little bit? He's new.
He's selfish. Why wouldn't the Private Party challenge him as a tag team? Because they want gold.
And why does being from Brooklyn fucking matter?
No.
Exactly.
The fact that he's 23 matters, not from Brooklyn.
From what?
The fact that he's 23 mattered, not necessarily that it was from Brooklyn. But
I just didn't like that either. And I hate to be that guy this week, but I just didn't like a lot of what I saw.
There was even a line when Jericho came out and said, "Happy birthday, man. Nobody gives a shit." Like, if you got this, it was funny because nobody does give a shit. Nobody gives a shit about a 46th birthday. I just had one. You know who gave a shit? Nobody.
Well, we heard,
I cared.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
We heard it about 4 times before Jericho mentioned it.
You know, but like then you got everybody laughing at the babyface, but Jericho was being the pro that he is, got it back. But I also kind of want to see a happy birthday, nobody gives a shit t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees, but that's just me. I do want to see that.
Speaking of birthdays, happy birthday to Stephanie McMahon today.
Yep. Thank you.
Or nobody gives a shit. Okay.
So anyway, yeah. Remember that line I said a little? Listen, you got 21 and then you got like 50.
No.
Your 21st birthday, cool. 50, and then all the ones in between are just, who gives a fuck?
25 matters because your car.
No, it doesn't.
Down. Your car insurance goes down at 25.
Okay. People in New York don't even drive. It doesn't fucking matter. But the outline, I'm gonna make you my bitch. I was just like, oh, how many times has that line been said?
Yeah. Oh, and I knew he was gonna say it too.
I knew
that's where it was going.
I love champion, bitch. That's what he said.
I was just like, don't say that. Say come up with, even adding the champion, bitch, was that helped it out a small bit, but I just like, please, at that moment,
any other
line but that.
At that moment, Matt was wishing, God, I wish I was concussed again. Because it was that bad.
Yeah. But there might have been a line fed to him. We don't know who came up with the verbiage. Sometimes the talent does have to say what's said to them. So who knows?
I will say this, as Isaiah was saying or about to say, I'm going to make you my whatever. It was so obvious that's what he was about to say, and that took away from it when he said it.
Yeah, and it's just been done to death.
And there was no bass in his voice, so I didn't believe him.
He's 23, Dave.
Well, something dropped.
Speaking of way before that. Fucking Randy Orton won the world title at 21. Nobody gives a shit that he's 23.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Now will I live to see 24?
But hey, Damien, speaking of dropping things, use PWR promo code at manscaped.com and you get to save 20%
on them balls.
Yes.
Wait, 20% on what?
On Manscaped, on whatever you want to use on manscaped.com.
And free shipping, right? I thought.
And free shipping. Yeah.
You know what? I knew this when he participated and was the host of WrestleMania, but ended up not being because WrestleMania sort of didn't happen. I mean, he took a bump off the balcony, but I'm going to give you the opportunity, Dave, to be shown up, and I'm going to go ahead and throw now to our special correspondent representing Manscaped this week. Well, don't you know we have footage? We have a clip.
Hold on a second. I got to see what's going on. Wait, roll it.
Babe, have you seen my balls?
Rob can't find his balls. They're behind your overgrown shaggy bush, my love.
It's so thick and bushy. I can't see them.
Ew. If your bush is overgrown, it's time to trim your hedge with the Manscaped lawnmower. The Manscaped lawnmower features skin-safe technology to reduce cuts, nicks, and snags when trimming your sensitive parts.
Oh, this feels great.
And it's waterproof, so you can trim the hedges, rain or shine.
Thanks, babe.
There's a reason why over 1 million men trust Manscaped. Order your lawnmower now at manscaped.com. And for a limited time, get a free pair of Manscaped boxers, free shipping, and a free shed travel bag.
Sweet sassy molassie! I found my balls!
That's great! I knew you would find them in there somewhere. Gentle on the balls, babe.
Sweet sassy molassie. Promo code PWR at manscaped.com. I saw y'all popping during the break. You're both like, that was the first time you saw it.
That was outstanding.
I was thinking, thank God Gronk is finally catching something,
Outstanding. Well done. Good job. Manscaped works. It's great. It's a great product. Go get that shit. Make your balls look like Damien's head.
The top part.
So proud to have Manscaped as a presenting sponsor of the Pro Wrestling Report Super Show here, along with our dear friends at collarandelbowbrand.com. And Dave Hero, you are somewhat hiding who you're showing, but
I am Brother Me Softly. I'm wearing the latest and greatest from Gallows and Anderson exclusively at collarandelbowbrand.com. Use promo code PWR360 You need the 360 to get an extra 10% off at collarandelbowbrand.com. Just dropped yesterday a brand new Road Warrior Animal t-shirt where 100% of the proceeds will be going to the Joe Laurinaitis family. So go to collarandelbowbrand.com, use promo code PWR360, get the new animal shirt as well as the new fall line, and you'll be styling and profiling.
And of course, as you mentioned, David Hero, sad day in the world of professional wrestling as we lose yet another one. John Laurinaitis, one half of the world.
Joe, not Johnny.
I said Joe, I'm sorry. Joe Laurinaitis, one half of the famous World Warriors tag team, the Legion of Doom, passing at the age of 60. Just yesterday, I believe it was, and a sad day in professional wrestling. Look, we all grew up in the same time in wrestling. We watched and idolized the same stars, and it was the Legion of Doom that we knew were the most dominant tag team in professional wrestling. Hawk, of course, tragic death a few years back. Road Warrior Animal, a bit of a surprise. This news, very devastating to the wrestling world. Everyone reacting, including, as you said, David Hero, collar and elbow with the special commemorative shirt. But gentlemen, your thoughts quickly. Your thoughts on the Road Warrior Animal and his influence on your wrestling fandom. Shane, we'll start with you.
Damn, who wasn't a fan of the Road Warriors? You know, if you're in my age group, Dave's age group, our age group, I guess, man, they were just they was iconic in the world of wrestling, you know. And you hear, I never heard that Iron Man song before the Road Warriors. You know, I wasn't a metalhead or anything. So I hear that song, I think of them immediately. Yep. I don't think of Iron Man, the superhero. I think of the Road Warriors. Just used to come out, beat the shit out of everybody. They took squash matches to a new level. You know, and I would hear stories about the enhancement guys would get to the building and they would see their names and see the Road Warriors against them and be like, here we go. You know, but it was rough, but like they were still professionals. You know, it's not like they sent people to the hospital or anything. They just went out there and did, especially at that time, what was asked of them, you know, and just got so over that a pop was named after them. So to this day, if you go get a loud pop, if I go out there and get my pop at the Rumble, was still called a Road Warrior pop. It wasn't a Hurricane pop. It's like one of the biggest pops of my career, and it's attached to somebody else. That's how over they were. When you're so over that every time there's a loud pop, people think of you. That's next level. And not only in America, international, they were over champions at AWA, NWA, WWF. I don't think anybody else did that. You know, maybe I don't know. I think they were the only ones, and that was the three biggest, you know, organizations of all time in North America. You know, until TNA, so and AEW now, but just trendsetters, badass guys, man. They, you know, and just duplicated. So many people wanted to be like them. They inspired so many people. Lance Storm got into business because he wanted to be like the Road Warriors. So, man, and great guys. I didn't know Hawk, but I knew Joe very well. I liked him, hanging around with him at cons. We would do signings together and just goof off. And man, he was a friendly guy and a great family guy. Man, this one, they all suck, but you know, when you know them, it sucks even worse. So, man, I hate to see it. Rest in peace, Joe, man. We're all going to miss you.
Joe Laurinaitis, who appeared on this show several times here at the Pro Wrestling Report. David Hero, you facilitated those appearances, and you were a good friend with Joe Laurinaitis.
Oh, he was one of the best. I mean, he was one of the sweetest guys. You take off the face paint and the spiked shoulder pads, and you know, he was a dad. He was, you know, he was your buddy, and it was conversations about life. It wasn't always wrestling. And the Road Warriors, that is the tag team. I was flipping through the channels in 6th grade, and they were on TBS, and they came to the ring, and they beat up Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer and King Kong Bundy, and I was hooked. I'm like, these guys are larger than life. They're, you know, just huge monsters, ass kickers, and they were my first WWF signing when I had Hero Sports Page. It was the Road Warriors. And for me, you know, growing up, it was Hulk Hogan, and then Hawk and Animal. It's like those three icons right there. And I've been, you know, for me, I got to work with Joe quite a bit. I was very fortunate at one of my Blizzard Brawl events. I had Road Warrior Animal team with Axe and Smash Demolition. Nice. Never had been done before. For me, it was a huge thing. I knew nobody else was going to get it. I wish I could find the tape because that was iconic. And
sounds great.
He's going to be missed because he was just a great dude, a great human being. It's unfortunate that he passed on his wedding anniversary, but I spoke with his wife, Kim, and I said, you got the best moments of him because they had an amazing night up until the time he passed. He was the perfect husband and anniversary dinner they ever could have asked for. And, he's going to be missed, and his legacy will go on forever, him and Hawk. And there's a lot of tag teams that have tried to model themselves after that, and it just hasn't worked because that's a once-in-a-lifetime tag team, two once-in-a-lifetime talents.
And when you see Zubaz, who do you think of?
Absolutely.
I see them Zubaz.
And fanny packs.
Fanny packs with a Ribera jacket, and the Road Warriors got to come to mind.
Yes.
Luckily I got to see him earlier this year. I don't even remember what con it was. What the last one I did, and he was there, so I got to chat with him for a little bit. And it was, man, sucks.
Yeah, great guy.
I think it need to be said, Dave, as you talk about teaming Road Warrior Animal with Demolition. Demolition, great friends of the show as well. We've had them on. We've talked to them many a time. There was no animosity as much as the wrestling business or the wrestling fans in some cases want to create animosity between the Road Warriors and Demolition because one was a ripoff of the other. Neither of those teams see it that way. And I think that's an important thing to point out because they were both iconic in the professional wrestling world, but they had a tremendous amount of respect for each other. Because 3 of the 4 guys were Minneapolis boys. So they all grew up together. I tell you, there was a time where Minneapolis had the biggest and greatest stars. When you have the Road Warriors and Ric Flair and Kurt Hennig, and Demolition Smash, Rick Rude. Well, like, man, AWA being based there certainly had a play in that.
Scott Norton in that group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mess with those guys.
Road Warrior Animal, of course, thank you so much for the memories. Thank you so much for all of the entertainment that you gave us. The Road Warriors will live on forever. And as you said, Shane, that Road Warrior pop will go on for the history of professional wrestling. Fans, when we come back, we are going to talk more about this week in professional wrestling. Specifically, we're going to look forward to Clash of Champions, which is this Sunday on pay-per-view, where these two guys will give us their fantasy booking and tell us why they would do what they would do on that event this Sunday on pay-per-view from WWE. But before that, let's tell you more about what you can get from our great partner in Fight TV.
The wait is over. All Elite Wrestling is now available on AEW Plus.
What are we seeing?
This is your chance to watch AEW Dynamite, commercial-free and live every Wednesday night.
Let's do this!
Exclusively on the Fight Digital Sports television platform. AEW Plus is available in over 100 countries outside the U.S., Canada, Germany, and France. AEW Plus can be viewed on your smart TV, mobile device, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, or at Fight.tv.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Starting this month, AEW Plus will also feature every episode of AEW Dark. Download the Fight app now and join the revolution today.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. It's the Super Show on Thursday night, September 24, 2020. And before we get into our next discussion, which is that of Clash of Champions, Shane, I had a question for you. And it's something I've been meaning to ask you for a couple of weeks as the resident professional wrestler here with a 30-year career. I've had a 2-year career, so I do need your insight. I noticed this during the Moxley-Kingston match on AEW, and I've seen a lot of wrestlers do it. But there were several times where there was a suplex being performed, and the person on the receiving end would not tuck, but sort of put their hand behind their neck before impact on the canvas. Walk us through what that does, or what's a reason that we see a lot of performers, a lot of wrestlers do that.
I mean, it's not something you have to do. It's a nice little thing to throw in sometimes. You talk to tuck your chin. The thing you don't want to do is smack the back of your head on the mat. In boxing, MMA, a lot of knockouts come just from the guy going down, and then he whacks the back of his head on the mat. That shit hurts. So you'll see guys doing like that. It's two things. You're kind of holding your neck up, and also you're kind of putting a little extra pad just in case your head actually flops back.
Huh. Interesting. Is that the preferred method of taking that spot?
I mean, I never did it. I worked really hard on training my neck so I could kind of keep my neck and, that. But tuck your chin, kid. Tuck your chin is the preferred thing to do.
All right. Well, thank you for answering that. It's been a subject of my curiosity for quite some time. Well, gentlemen, it is time now to move on and talk about the next special event, pay-per-view, if you will, effort from WWE. And there's a lot coming up in the next few weeks, by the way. We've got Clash of Champions this Sunday. We've got NXT TakeOver the following Sunday. We've got Bound for Glory on October 24th. There's a lot going on in professional wrestling as far as special events go, but we're going to focus on, you know what? Wait a minute. We didn't talk about NXT.
Oh, there it is.
I thought you were just leapfrogging. I didn't know what we were doing.
No, well, Shane, you flipped the script. You threw me off. So
I threw you off by 10 minutes tops.
You guys want to talk NXT?
You trying to throw in some birthdays, some watch fucking gibberish earlier? Steer the ship, Captain. I'm the captain now.
This is the deadliest tonight.
You're not from Minneapolis.
You guys want to talk?
My family was named after the helms. We were the people that steered the ship. It's where our name came from. The helmsman.
Wait a minute.
We did.
Wait a minute. Which ships are we talking about? The ones that went across the Pacific or the Atlantic?
Hey, brother, I'm just saying.
It's not a Star Destroyer. Come on.
Were there people rowing on this boat?
I don't know. I just know that's what the name helm means.
So do you want to talk Clash now or do you want to talk NXT now?
No, NXT. We'll do NXT.
Yeah, NXT for sure.
Let's go in chronological order. Come on. Jeez.
Okay, thank you. I'm riding the ship, if you will. But let's talk about it. And the big news coming out of NXT this past Wednesday night was Kyle O'Reilly becoming number one contender and the man who will face Finn Balor at NXT TakeOver for the NXT Championship. I, for one, am tremendously excited about this matchup. We talked a lot about Kyle O'Reilly last week, I believe it was, on this program. Finn Balor, absolutely fantastically tremendous. David, I'm going to start with you because you've been sort of poo-pooing, if you will, on Finn Balor for the last several months because you've wondered about his placement and his utilization in NXT. Well, now he's champion, and he goes up against and defends against Kyle O'Reilly at the next TakeOver event.
I think it's going to be a great match for Finn Balor because I think it's a new talent, a new main event talent in Kyle O'Reilly, who proved he can overcome some of the top guys in his gauntlet match. And I've been hard on Finn Balor because he hasn't done what he has been forecast to do over the years. But I think him in the spot he's in right now with NXT as the current NXT World Heavyweight Champion is a great spot for him. He's the kind of guy that can have a match with a Bronson Reed or a Damian Priest or a Kyle O'Reilly or what's the guy's name with the wife?
Johnny Gargano.
Yeah. Johnny Gargano. He can he's the guy that can be in a match with every one of them as a heel, which I think is fantastic. But I was pleasantly surprised that it was Kyle O'Reilly that won that match. I thought Cameron Grimes might get it, especially after Bronson Reed was eliminated. But yeah, that's going to be a pretty physical, tough, hot match.
Kyle O'Reilly qualifies. He wins the gauntlet elimination match. He takes on Finn Balor at TakeOver. Shane, what did you think of the offering on NXT this past week?
I thought it was great. I thought NXT was the show of the week. For what they put out there. I love that last match. So good. The mechanics involved. These guys work hard, and these guys are at the top of their game. I remember when I first mentioned to you guys a couple of weeks ago, I think Kyle O'Reilly is going to be the breakout.
You did. You did.
I felt some blowback back in those days. But
from Dave, yes, you did.
But it was good. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly has been good for a long time, but them giving him those promo segments to see that personality, great facials, he can work with anybody as well. I think him and Finn Balor are going to absolutely kill it at TakeOver, so I'm looking forward to it. Like Dave, I thought Cameron Grimes to the moon. I thought he could have been one of the guys because he does have a victory over Finn Balor. They could have played off of that a little bit, but Kyle O'Reilly, I'm not upset at that decision, and I thoroughly enjoyed that match. It's been great to see Bronson Reed. Just a few months ago, Bronson Reed was just kind of treading water. We saw him get elevated so that he's a contender now. Kyle O'Reilly, Cameron Grimes, and Thatcher look good. Thatcher looks good working with guys that aren't exactly like his style. That's what makes his style stand out. So I thought that was probably the match of the week in my mind. So you know what? Also, if you look down the Twitter machine, Triple H put his stamp of approval on Kyle O'Reilly after that match. That is very telling.
Why shouldn't he? I mean, Kyle O'Reilly, especially on NXT this past week, last night, he was serious. He was intense. And Shane, what you talked about, I think, and both of you, Dave, as well, recently on this program was how great he is as a talker. And we talked about how Kyle O'Reilly is no spring chicken, if you will. He's been in the business for a very long time, spent a long time in Ring of Honor, but he's matured in such a way that not only physically will he be able to deliver in this match at TakeOver, but getting there is going to be as fun and as intense as well. It's difficult to think of two better match competitors right now than that of Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly.
And it's fresh too. This just feels new. For whatever reason, you've had those guys that have been in NXT or attached to NXT for a couple of years, but yet we got a fresh matchup out of it. So you got to take your hat off to creative for that point because they made that happen.
For me, it's similar to Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, where the tag team guy finally gets his moment as a singles guy.
Well, okay, but the Uso situation's somewhat out of necessity, right?
No, not at all. They could have given us the same match that they've been giving us for the last 17 years.
I don't think Roman Reigns been around in WWE for that long.
They could have given us Baron Corbin against Roman Reigns.
You love Baron Corbin.
I do, but not in the same match every week.
The women's number one contender.
Can I throw an old homage for this match though? Kyle O'Reilly hitting that flying knee drop to beat Bronson Reed.
Yes.
Did anybody else but me think of Ivan Koloff beating Bruno Sammartino?
Oh, yeah, yep, exactly.
Like, I know I'm aging myself. And I've been watching for a really long time, but I was like, man, that was like Ivan beat Bruno. And I looked on Twitter to see if anybody else said it. I was like, man, either they're nerds or I am, or we all are.
We all are.
Yeah. Folks, it will be Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver. Candice LeRae winning the Battle Royal this past Wednesday night on NXT. A good effort, a good showing, and not a surprising win because it keeps one of the prominent competitors as number one contender now going into NXT TakeOver. Shane, what did you think?
I was actually shocked, because she's doing so many other things. I was like, okay, Candice doesn't really need this win. But I'm not opposed to it at all. I thought this was a really well done Battle Royal, which can be hard. We've talked about that in recent weeks about Battle Royals, especially, and I'm going to say this, especially for females, because they sometimes have a hard time going over the top rope. I've seen a bunch of female Battle Royals, and they would even change the rules so that they don't have to go over the top rope. They would go underneath. These women, it all looked great. It looked fantastic. I didn't really see anything that I hated. Rhea Ripley looked like she gave zero fucks about people. She was just tossing them left and right, land how you land. I'm going to do my business. She looked impressive. Raquel looked impressive. And they did a great job of that. Was like having Andre and John Studd in a Battle Royal. Yep. They were tossing people like a competition, and then they took each other out. I thought that was super well done. Ninja Warrior girl doing her thing, the Kofi Kingston type shit, John Morrison type shit. That was really cool. The finish with Shotzi Blackwell, as always, as I keep mentioning, finding a way that when she loses, it's impressive and you remember it. Taking that modified monkey flip off the stairs to the floor, I guarantee you that bump sucked ass.
Yes, that hurt.
Yeah, that shit hurt me watching. Man, there was just a lot of women in this Battle Royal that looked really good. And Battle Royals are the most difficult match in the business. And sometimes one of the indie Battle Royal is the most dangerous match in the business. Forget Hell in a Cell. You get an indie battle royal, you might as well just go ahead and have 9-1 on speed dial, ready for the other one to get pressed because somebody's getting hurt. But I was super impressed with that. And, like I said, I've seen some women battle royals in the past that were tough to get through. This one I thought just killed. I thought they did a great job.
And you got to believe Candice LeRae has the momentum going forward, where I think she might actually leave TakeOver as the NXT Women's Champion.
Very, very good chance. Very good chance. She's a talker. She can work. She's checking all the boxes right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the match is set for NXT TakeOver and also on NXT this past Wednesday night. They've been changing nights so much, I keep forgetting which night each show is on. But a significant announcement because we got a promo teaser, if you will, about a former champion who is returning to NXT soon. And there's a lot of speculation that former champion, based on his tweets and based on the fact that in 2014, when he left NXT, he left kicking and screaming, that Bo Dallas may be that man. Gentlemen, your thoughts on clearly what might be next after TakeOver for this returning former champion to NXT?
I didn't have a clue who the fuck it was.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I would hope it would be Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe on NXT right now with that crew would be fantastic. As good as he is on commentary, I would much rather see him on NXT every week.
So
and he was not on commentary this past Monday night.
For legit, it was a former champion, NXT champion.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Draw up the list of names. That can't be that hard to figure out.
I got to put the insert on that. That's going to take a minute.
You search that. We can talk about something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh yeah, the tag team match. The Sherlock Holmes, my man, Brazango dressed up like Sherlock Holmes. That Sherlock Helms, if you're me, just depends. His little interaction with Regal was great to explain that match. I thought that was fantastic. And Roderick Strong and Burke. Is it Burke?
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, I thought, man,
they were fantastic.
4 guys thrown together in a tag match. I was really impressed with that match. Roderick was great during his comeback.
And that being said, now we talked about having cold matches being clunky. That wasn't, and that was 4 guys.
They're at the Performance Center. They can go and work, and I guarantee you, those people are down there working. They're not just waiting for to have a TV match if their name happens to be drawn.
But AEW also, they know they're going to be in Jacksonville for 4 or 5 days. Right?
Hey, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it swim.
Yeah, that's very true.
But
unless it's a seahorse.
Roderick Strong could go in there on a damn 5 minutes notice and tear it down. All 4 of those guys are really talented. So they killed it. That just goes from a mechanic standpoint. The shows weren't close. From a mechanic standpoint, NXT was head and shoulders above everything else on TV this week.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for those comments. And
did you get the names?
I'm sorry?
Did you get the names?
Oh, I wasn't doing that. I was preparing. We have.
Come on.
We have 25. You want me to look up every former NXT champion?
There should be a damn easy way
to do it. Wikipedia.
Wikipedia just has a list of them.
It's Eric Young. I'm out of screens. I got the
I asked so little.
Card. I got the results. We got to move on. We're already overtime, boys.
All right, Dan.
See, I have been so lenient in allowing you guys to drive the content of this show this week that we are already 18 minutes and 49 seconds over time. And that's fine because we like to over-deliver.
All right, what's next?
WWE
Clash of Champions.
Yes, good job, David. Clash of Champions.
Wait, hold on. Where was Drake Maverick? He should have been somewhere on the show.
By Robert Stone.
He wasn't in that women's battle royal?
Sorry?
No. I was hoping for a Robert Stone bump in that. He wasn't there.
No, but the girl fell into him. He kind of took a half bump.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I guess.
David,
Harold, go ahead.
Just to give you one last chance, I know we talked about it earlier this week. Do you want to talk about Tommaso Ciampa and Jake Atlas?
No.
Okay, very good. So the WWE pay-per-view, the next special event coming to us from the Thunderdome will be Clash of Champions. Now, it's the one night of the year, quote-unquote, where every championship in WWE must be defended. I don't know that I see a 24/7 championship match on this card, but be that as it may. Whoa, wait a minute. Let's get back to that. on
Yeah,
Raw.
please.
I know we can't talk about Retribution because Shane, you have barred it from the show. But how about that promo in the ocean on the beach with R-Truth and was it Kazawa and the Shark and little Jimmy returning to Raw? That was some tremendousness.
R-Truth is gold. R-Truth is just absolute gold. So is there a segment that they've given him that he doesn't just absolutely destroy?
If there's not a segment they've given him that he has not absolutely destroyed, there's not a Twitter post that he posts on his own that he has not absolutely destroyed. The game show gimmick he's doing on the network, he absolutely destroyed. What an amazing amount of comedic.
But, hey, speaking of absolutely destroyed, though, Papa Dabakato, whatever his name is, got destroyed by Braun Strowman Monday night.
Papa Dabakato. Oh, you're talking underground. I can't. I fast forward.
But that's important because they were building that guy up to be somebody, and Braun Strowman in 2 minutes, just destroys the guy.
But it feels like you're the same guy who would try to tell me that Braun Strowman should have destroyed him.
No, I think that Papa Dabo could have beaten him through shenanigans.
Wait,
Dabakato. It's Dabakato.
Mysterio's kids?
Yes. Dabakato.
You are not the Papa.
You know what? Raw was bad anyhow, all the way through.
It was horrible.
It may have been the worst Raw I've seen in a long time. Wouldn't you agree, Shane?
I'm not talking about it.
He certainly is not. Clash of Champions, ladies and gentlemen. It's Be the Booker. So in this segment, both Shane and Dave will tell us how they would book a match and why. Not necessarily their prediction, but we will treat it as a prediction when we go over how they were right or wrong.
Hold on. It's for entertainment purposes only.
EPO?
EPO.
That's on November 3rd. What we're talking about is Clash of Champions, which is this Sunday on the WWE Network. Every match is for a championship, which I imagine might make it a little more difficult for the both of you to book because you got to change titles around if you do so as well. So we go back and forth. We want to hear the engagement from the audience as well as to your thoughts. And Shane, I think you yelled at me last time we did Be the Booker, so we're going to start with you. And unfortunately, we're going to start with a tag team championship match on the SmackDown side of things with four tremendous competitors, at least two. At least one. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, God bless me, the champions defending against the Lucha House Party. Shane, what would you do?
Man, I don't want to take the championships off Shinsuke and Cesaro, but at the same time, at some point, you got to do something with the Lucha House Party. Either shit or get off the pot. I mean, how many chances can they get and not win before the fans completely don't care? So it just depends on where we're going to go forward. I still think having the championships on Shinsuke and Cesaro is the right move. They're just fabulous competitors, but man, at some point, you got to pull the trigger with the Lucha House Party, right?
No, I don't think you have to at all. I just think that you just let them be who they are. And
well, that's what I'm saying. But then they're going to stay there. If you don't do something with them, if the fans lose faith in you winning, then you're done as a babyface. You're done as a babyface. I don't see them having some great, impactful heel run. So I'm just wondering, is there some way that we boost the Lucha House Party? If they win them and lose them in a couple weeks, they're fine. If Cesaro and Shinsuke can get them back in a couple weeks, then everybody's elevated. If you just keep pushing them down further and further and further, I don't know what you do. So, man, for me, I'm looking at, man, we got to do something with Lucha House Party here, man. So I'm leaning toward. Granted, they probably won't, but for the entertainment purpose of this show, I'm saying let's go with the Lucha House Party for the championships.
Dave,
I can't because I wouldn't find that entertaining or purposeful at all. If you have the Lucha House Party go over, I mean, you got to just keep going with Cesaro and Nakamura until there's another tag team that means something. I can see how they could go at Lucha House Party. It is Hispanic Heritage Month, and they are kind of into that whole,
Kind of?
Yeah, they are. I mean, all of a sudden,
they're kind of Hispanic. I feel like.
Oh, come on! It's all over. both companies have these big ads that they have taken out on their social media platforms. I'm going to go with Nakamura and Cesaro. I would not be shocked if Lucha House Party gets the win because of what Shane says, but I just don't think that doesn't help Cesaro and Nakamura at all.
Well, the next match is for the Raw Women's Championship. And Dave, I think I know who you're going to book to win this matchup. And I don't know that I disagree with you, to be honest with you, but it is Zelina Vega taking on Asuka. Again, the Raw Championship held by Asuka on the line in this match. Dave, how would you book it?
You know what? I love Zelina Vega. She's one of my favorite people on the planet, but she has had very little build up to this. She hasn't done anything that makes her a threat to Asuka. She gets the title match basically by beating somebody that already lost a match with Asuka. I don't like Zelina Vega's chances. As much as I would love to see her get the victory, I think it's still going to be Asuka leaving on Sunday as the champ.
Very surprising. I know you're a huge fan and friend of Zelina Vega, but Shane, who would you book to win this matchup?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Dave here. And I think Zelina, to differentiate this story between the Lucha House Party, Zelina hasn't had any chances. So she can lose this chance. She can lose a couple more chances, and she'll be fine. She's got a bright future. It's just been a quick build-up. It's kind of seems thrown together, to be honest with you. I see Asuka winning this pretty handedly. Love Zelina. Love Thea. Great human being. She's been to my house. She's a buddy of mine for many, many years. So love her to death. But this is going to be Asuka, I think.
Both of you going with Asuka in this matchup. The next matchup will be for the United States Championship. Representing the Hurt Business will be Bobby Lashley, the champion, going up against your very favorite, David Hero, Apollo Crews. However, Shane, you get the first booking in this matchup.
I think these are the only 4 guys that are entitled to go for this championship. Is that what I'm being led about? I did see a cool collage that MVP put up. It was of him, Shelton, and Bobby each, because each of them had been the U.S. champion. That may or may not have been my idea that I texted the MVP, but we'll just leave that out there. I like to see the Hurt Business continuing to win. That crew is growing. I don't see any reason to take any kind of steam away from. Love Apollo Crews. If he gets the belt back, it won't hurt my feelings whatsoever because I love Apollo Crews too. But right now, I think the money's with the Hurt Business, so that's who I'm going with.
Here's what's interesting to that point, Shane. 2 questions for the both of you. Firstly, what role will we see Retribution play in this matchup, if any? And secondly,
hopefully none.
And secondly, I agree with that. And secondly, though, would it not be great? And granted, he's benefited tremendously from this feud with the Hurt Business, but would it not be great for Apollo Crews to join the Hurt Business long term?
I don't know if you need it right now. They got 4 members. I don't know if you put, when you start putting a lot of people in a group, you run the risk of becoming the NWO, and then it just didn't matter. Had too many members. I don't think 5 is.
And then who would Ricochet hang out with?
Yeah, we need baby faces. We need baby faces to take on the Hurt Business, although they kind of seemed the baby faces when they were taking on Retribution. So again, we got some of this weird booking where am I supposed to like the guys or am I supposed to not? You're playing with my emotions here. I'm not really. It's kind of confusing, but I don't think Apollo needs to join the Hurt Business right now. Too, Apollo is such a nice guy. It's going to take a lot to make me hate Apollo Crews.
Well, I ask because, and Dave, I'll let you answer in a minute, but I ask because look at how great it's done for Cedric Alexander. Look at how great it's done for Shelton Benjamin. Look at how great it's done for Bobby Lashley. 3 men who were sort of in the abyss, if you will, with no real seemingly bright future as far as bookings and storylines in WWE until they align with the Hurt Business. How many times can they wrestle Apollo Crews before he has nothing to do is the question. And that, I think, is the answer you gave, Shane, of maybe not right now, maybe down the road. But Dave, what do you think?
Well, there's at least 6 more times I'm sure they would like to do it. But, the question is, Bobby Lashley is the stud of the Hurt Business. And you got to believe he would be able to beat Apollo Crews considering the push and the way they're using him. But then you got to wonder, is Teabag, Windu, and Slapnuts, are they going to show up? And are they going to get involved? Because I can see them.
Hear it.
What's that?
Slapnuts is Jeff Jarrett, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I got the names mixed up like I normally do, but I could see them maybe helping out Apollo Crews, but that would be so kabuki-ish and backwards. But after watching Raw Monday, it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys agreeing again? Okay.
There's no other way to go with that match. Because if Apollo Crews beats Bobby Lashley clean, then the Hurt Business is out of business. Because how can you believe that they can then take on Retribution?
But that's the question. If Retribution gets involved, can that scenario play out where Crews gets the win, gets the championship, creates more heat between the three?
But why would the heels help out the babyface? I get it that their enemy is Bobby Lashley. I don't know. Apparently their contract means they can do whatever they want. I don't get it.
Next matchup, and Shane, you get the first pick and first booking in this match. It's for the Raw Tag Team Championships. It's going to be the Street Profits bringing the smoke against Andrade and Angel Garza, where romantic interests get in the way of physicality in this matchup, Shane.
I would like to see Andrade and Garza get the championships. I just think they're a fantastic team. You know, Street Profits have had a good run. I think we need to spice that division up a little bit, you know. Okay. Because they're Latinos, they're spicy. Is that?
Yeah.
It's National Latino Heritage Month, right, Dave?
Yes, exactly.
Shane Helms did not say that. Yeah, I like and I love the Street Profits too. So, you know, I can see them. I mean, they're kind of killing it lately. But I think it's time to shake that division up a little bit. So I'm gonna go with Garza and
Andrade. David Hero, what do you say?
I'm going to go with what Shane says about the Lucha House Party. I'm going to go with Garza and Andrade too, because if you don't do anything with them there, then what do you do with them at all? Because right now Andrade he's not even stuck in neutral. He's stuck in reverse. I think Garza is the breakout star of that team. But now with Zelina Vega doing her own thing, going after Asuka's title, you can't afford to break up Andrade unless you're going to bring Charlotte to come back with him. So you almost have to go with Garza and Andrade.
If because they got Zelina doing her own thing, maybe they are going to break them up. And maybe then Andrade can go do single stuff and Garza can go do single stuff. So that could be in the plan too. And if that's in the plan, then you got the Street Profits going over in this, and that'll be the end of it. But I just really like them as a tag team, Garza, and I think the Vikings are out still, right? So
they're gonna be out for a while, yeah.
So I mean, you know, if you separate Garza and Andrade right now, that's two of your teams in a not very deep tag team division. So I wouldn't do that. I go with Garza and Andrade.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. We are live here on Fight TV. It's Thursday night, September 24th. Thank you for watching us. If you're watching us on Fight or across our social media channels, and we are interactive, we want to welcome those of you who are watching us across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter via Periscope. Batman Beyond the 23 on YouTube, Bill Vlachos and Chris Hummel on Facebook, Jaggy Babs, big fan of yours, Shane, on YouTube, and David Stronach, who I think we mentioned earlier, also watching on Facebook Live. Also, Chris Smith watching on YouTube as well. So with that, gentlemen, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for your comments. Let's get to the next matchup, of which, Dave, you get the first pick, and that is the Women's Tag Team Championship. Remember, that appears on both brands. It's Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. What a formidable team going up against the Riot Squad.
There's no way you can take those tag titles off Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler right now. They are the Twin Towers, the Road Warriors, the Demolition.
Natural disasters?
Sure. Natural disasters. They are
3 count?
Fantastic. almost as good as 3 count. But I mean, they have great chemistry together. You like watching the way they interact. They've now become an attraction where it's like, what are they going to say to each other next? Who's going to roll their eyes at who? And to be honest, when I saw the Riot Squad, who are baby faces running away from the heels, I hate that, and I don't really see them being a legit threat to Nia and Baszler.
Shane, who would you book?
Yeah, this was tough because I love the Riot Squad, but yeah, I'm sticking with Nia and Shayna Baszler. I'd get the most out of this run that you absolutely can. Milk that shit till it's dry. They both can go on the singles stuff after this. They've done singles stuff before, but right now this just still, even though it's a couple weeks in, I don't know what, maybe a month in at the most, it still seems new to me, and that tells me something. So I would stick with them and keep going with them. They're entertaining. They can beat your ass. Hell, I'd put them against the winner of the Profits and Andrade and Garza, and
they'd go over.
And then put them up, So, if any guy out there that thinks Shayna Baszler can't kick your ass, I'm sorry, you're mistaken. You just are. So I'm going with them. Yeah, the Twin Towers of the. Well, I guess we can't really call anybody the Twin Towers anymore. We'll figure out a name. What's that?
2 count.
No. 2 count was me and Shannon. Near fall.
Whoa, there was a 2 count? Hold on. There was a 2 count as well?
We joke when we kicked Devin out. We were just 2 of us, so we would joke and call ourselves. Somebody said 2 count, and I said near fall, but luckily they didn't do anything. That would have been stupid.
I got to challenge you guys. In the last 4 matches out of the 5 we've talked about, you've both booked the same people to win. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I mean, sometimes we're going to be on the same page. If you talk to me about MMA and my buddies, a lot of times we pick the same fighters, so.
Fair enough.
And maybe Dave's learning, It took a while.
That's more likely. And Dave does get the next pick first in the next matchup, and that is the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line, as Bayley will defend against Nikki Cross. Dave, that's you.
He's either frozen or he's doing a damn good job.
Let it go. Let it go. That's the best Dave's ever looked. Well, we'll go to you, I guess, Shane. First, it's the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley versus Nikki Cross.
I think it was my turn anyway. I think he picked first last. So I'm going with Bayley. Bayley's been on an incredible run. And I'm sticking with Bayley on this. She's doing great. And Nikki Cross is fun. She's fun, and she's got a future, but right now, I think you keep Bayley running strong. So, to keep score, I got the Lucha House Party winning the tag titles, right?
Yes, sir.
Got the Hurt Business retaining.
Yes.
I got Shayna. I got Asuka retaining. Shayna and Nia retaining, and I got Bayley retaining. So far, I've only got one type of change. So I just got to keep that score in my head.
Yes, you do.
And Dave's got everybody. Well, Dave's the only difference with us was the Lucha Party. So
that is the last time I make fun of Retribution and call those guys by the off names.
Yeah.
Yeah, they crashed my set on me. You see that? Holy balls!
Holy balls! There you go.
All of a sudden, the next thing you know, it's dark in here. I can't see anything.
You didn't have the great defender Cal Hero there to take care of him.
Oh, of course not. He's doing something else. He's playing golf. Isn't
it past his curfew? And what golf in this hour? We're in a pandemic.
Oh, he's besides being the fanny pack kid, lately he's been the country club kid. Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's easy for you to say.
Welcome back, Dave. Shane, one more time, picking in case you missed it, for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Shane would book Bayley to win that matchup over Nikki Cross. What would you say, Dave?
Yeah.
Right along, folks. Championship matchup. This one actually should be tremendous. It's a triple threat ladder match, and it is the champion Jeff Hardy. I don't know what color his hair will be, reference to your earlier comment, Shane, but he will take on AJ Styles and Sami Zayn, 3 fantastic, tremendous talents who will take all the risks in the world and will deliver an entertaining outing to us for sure. But Dave, who walks out with the Intercontinental Championship?
It's a no-brainer. It's got to be Sami Zayn. He's done absolutely very little since he's been back. He's the least likely guy, I think, to win it. But he's the one that'll get the most heat. I mean, AJ Styles, he's been the champ. He's done everything there is to do. You got to believe he's going to be on his way back to Raw since Paul Heyman's back on SmackDown. And, you know, Jeff Hardy doesn't need anything. He's always going to be Jeff Hardy. So if it's me, I'm going to have Sami Zayn get that victory.
Shane, how about you?
I'm going with Jeff Hardy. You know, he's kind of rejuvenated. The shit he took with that storyline with Sheamus, just giving him the Intercontinental title didn't get that taste out of my mouth. I think we get a good, long, lengthy run with him as the Intercontinental Champion. I get what Dave's saying about Sami Zayn. You won't heat. Sami Zayn will find a way to steal that title. That could very easily be what we see here. So make sure you put a note that I said that. But I see Jeff Hardy retaining this. It's a ladder match. You know, I like to see guys win their match. You know, sometimes in the business we do this thing where, you know, somebody loses their type of match. You know, and that kind of gets a little redundant. I like to see people win their match. A ladder match is Jeff Hardy's home, so I like to see him get the Duke there.
All right, both of you sort of. Well, actually, Dave going with Sami Zayn, Shane with some provisions going with Jeff Hardy retaining the championship. Folks, the next matchup will be for the Universal Championship, and cousins will collide. It's a family affair at Clash of Champions. As we discussed earlier, Roman Reigns will defend the Universal Championship against Jey Uso. Shane, this should be a tremendous matchup between two men who know each other very well. I'm
going with the Islander. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns. Like you see what I did there. You know, I think Jay's going to put up a good showing, and I think it's going to be a great match. And but I think Roman Reigns is the guy. He's the face of WWE again, rightfully so. Looking pretty. I think Roman Reigns all day long.
You know, this is going to be tremendous for Jey Uso, regardless of the outcome. It feels, no matter what. The Usos have been fantastic. They're tremendous fan favorites. Of course, only half performing right now. And this leads to, as I speculated earlier, a main event matchup, keeping it in the family. There's a lot more people involved in this story, though, including your friend King Corbin, David Hero, Matt Riddell, Big E, Sheamus. This Sunday, though, at Clash of Champions, Dave, how would you book it for the winner of this championship matchup?
I think that Jey Uso gives Roman Reigns absolutely everything he can handle, to the point where Roman Reigns finally shows he is the ultimate bad guy and then just destroys his cousin. But it's going to be after Jey Uso completely gets over and shows that he can hang with the big dog in his yard or island now. But in the end, it'll be Roman Reigns defeating, if not destroying, Jey Uso.
You know, that's
I would book some false finish with the other Uso coming in, killer bee switcheroo for a false finish,
like when it was Kurt Angle against Undertaker, and that was his brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or even further back when Sting came. I mean, when Barry Windham cut his hair and came out as Sting, and I believed it was Sting, and I thought he lost the title to Sid Vicious.
Did you hear that Sid had no idea that was the finish?
Yeah.
He thought he was supposed to be beating Sting that night?
Yeah.
Amazing.
You know, it's fascinating what you all talk about just then and there, but let's go back to there. David Hero, you made a great point. Could this be that is the reason for this matchup, is to solidify Roman Reigns as that monster heel, I believe the term you used.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Now he destroy his cousin, Jey.
Yes. Yeah, because it's one thing to destroy The Fiend or Braun Strowman, because each one of those guys in the last couple of months have both been good guys, bad guys. But when you destroy blood, your family, especially when they've done a great job of showing the history, how they basically have been, you know, going up through middle school, high school, football teams, everything together, they're playing with your emotions, and nobody likes to see that. And it's going to be a huge night for both Jey Uso and Roman Reigns.
I second that emotion. And the main event, the other main event, if you will, every championship on the line. It's the Clash of Champions. It will be for the Raw or the WWE Championship, as Randy Orton, who slithered his way into the matchup this past Monday night on the Raw we won't talk about, he gets that chance against Drew McIntyre for that championship. And Dave, you get first picks in this matchup.
But where's Keith Lee? Is he not in this now?
Right. He's not. I don't think he's. That's
because they kept saying he was going to be in it. Which, if you look at it, there's a lot of players that aren't on this pay-per-view, and I get it because they're not champions. But Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton should be another great match. You got to believe Randy Orton's finally going to beat Drew McIntyre, especially after he laid him out and took the shovel to his jaw and everything else on Monday night. But boy, it just seems like this match has lost a whole lot of steam because I don't feel a sense of urgency from either guy, especially since Drew was busy with Keith Lee for a couple of weeks and didn't really get over on him. And then they get involved with the guys in the black hoodies and everything.
Retribution.
Well, I thought we weren't going to mention them anymore. And
You just did.
No, I didn't. I didn't mention them by name. I didn't call them those guys. But and then Randy Orton shows up and gives an RKO to Drew McIntyre, and he's standing tall in the middle of the ring, and nobody goes after him. It was very weird to me. And it's almost like, I don't know, right now it's a coin flip. So if I had a coin to flip, I'd say, Drew McIntyre's heads and Randy Orton's tails.
Well, to your point about Keith Lee and what happens with Keith Lee, is it was Keith
You went out on a limb there, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah, I did.
It was Keith Lee's head that Randy Orton kicked this past Monday night, so maybe that explains his absence or lack thereof come Sunday.
Here's my question. Where does Drew McIntyre go if he loses to Randy Orton? Yes, he'll get a rematch. But what's waiting for Randy Orton now in the wings? Is it going to be Keith Lee? I mean, it just seems like there's nothing behind this anymore. I mean, a month ago or at SummerSlam, you honestly felt, hey, this is going to be a kick-ass fight. I don't feel that now going into this pay-per-view.
All right, Shane, what are you saying? How would you book it?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Drew retaining the championship. This match has lost a little bit of luster. I'm not sure. Keith Lee getting a clean win over Randy Orton, and then I thought Randy's going to do something to kind of get his steam back. So there could be some shenanigans, and it could very easily go the other way. But I think they're going to keep the banner on Drew McIntyre for a while.
Well, gentlemen, that is Clash of Champions, which comes to us Sunday on the WWE Network. It's their latest special event offering, and want to loop back around because we didn't talk about it actually, but the actual ratings from this week for the shows, because y'all flipped the script on me, so I didn't get to follow my normal path. Is AEW on Tuesday night for its late night Dynamite? Actually, a tremendous showing, 585,000 viewers. That would be the third place show of the AEW NXT battle, if you will, week to week. And then it was the NXT showing on Wednesday night, scoring 696,000 viewers. Second place to AEW's 885,000 viewers this past Wednesday night on Dynamite. If you combine the audience for both shows of AEW this week, we're looking at some 1.5 million people that tuned into the broadcast. And for perspective, Raw scored 1.7 million viewers this past Monday night.
Yeah, but there was some overlap. Like some of the same people that watched Tuesday were the same people that watched Wednesday. So I don't think that's a fair comparison. If you're going to do that, then you got to add Raw and SmackDown.
Well, I don't think that's what he was doing. Were you adding up all 3 nights, Damian?
No. He added AEW for Tuesday and Wednesday.
But SmackDown hasn't happened yet, so how can I add that?
No. For the last one, you added 2 different nights, and now
he added just Wednesday night together, NXT and AEW.
I should have, but I didn't, Dave. Thank you for the defense. I did add the 2 Dynamite shows, and then again.
What the hell were you doing that for? That's wrong.
Against NXT and against Raw. No matter what, the argument still stands of head-to-head or not, should it continue. I don't know that either audience is taking viewers away from the other audience, especially with AEW's great showing on Tuesday night. But this pissing contest does really not need to be, right? It seems like everyone would benefit more, as you guys have said on this broadcast over the last few weeks, if the shows were on separate nights and we just didn't have to go into this who was better. But as you've said many times on this broadcast,
but we're still going to do it. If they air that shit on Tuesday, we're still going to do a who was better show.
That is true. But as you've said, David Hero, they have stacked has AEW each and every week. And now, in addition to the TNT Championship, which I'm not sure if Brody is committed to defending it every week, but FTR has committed to their step up to the challenge or whatever it is, 20 minutes, a new team every week. We had a world championship match this past Wednesday night in Dynamite. We'll have another one next week. They have been pulling out all the stops, but I will challenge that anyone who challenges that with this is that, confused myself there, AEW only has 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year. So if not on their weekly TV, then when? They're sort of poised to be able to deliver that on a more frequent basis than WWE or NXT. NXT does have more pay-per-view events per year, not many, but more than AEW.
I agree.
Thank you for that. Well, gentlemen,
I'm not sure what you said, so I'll agree too. By the way, speaking of that FTR promo, Tully Blanchard was incredible.
Right? He was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
You believe every single word out of his mouth.
Who had the better shoes this week? Was it Cody with his glittery shoes? Was it Ricky Starks with his rock shoes? Or was it Tully Blanchard with his weekly red shoes?
I wasn't looking at shoes. So I'll go with Brandy's heels.
She's a heel?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love the caveat of FTR that if the other team, if it goes to a draw, the other team still loses.
Yes.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
But I'll be honest, a 20-minute tag match can be terrifying. I don't want to see 20 minutes every week with them.
Yeah, that's assuming it goes the limit. So I can't imagine that they do that all the time. Like with the TV used to be only 10. So that kind of flew by, but it didn't go the time limit. Hardly any. I would see them, not hardly any, but not always.
Speaking of time limits, we are 21 minutes and 40 seconds over time. And I think that's fantastic, actually. We just can't exceed 2 hours. Otherwise, we won't. There's some problems. So be that as it may, thank you to you both for joining us. Thank you to all of you for watching us on Fight TV and, of course, across our social media channels. I want to remind you, you can also take this show with you on the go in podcast form. Just search for PWR Primetime on podcast and also the Highway to Helms podcast. And that's number 2, not T-O. Highway to Helms podcast. And don't forget, keep this show on the air, support us, and support yourself, actually, especially your W balls, as Snoop would say, by going to manscaped.com/PWR and enter the promo code, PWR, to get free shipping and 20% off all your ball needs. For the man they call David Hero and Shane Helms, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in and joining us here on Fight TV. We'll see you again next week. Next Thursday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So long, everybody.